ladies and gentlemen, without comment.
Last point is I was watching some Tucker Carlson videos in preparation for this, and I just found one that I thought was interesting that I wanted to bring up here, which is where he wanted to charge Black Lives Matter protesters for domestic terrorism.
Right, I didn't see that segment. I don't agree with charging domestic activists, U.S. citizens, with domestic terrorism charges.
All right. I just thought that was interesting, especially given his comments about January 6th and whole narrative there.
I mean, it sounds like a lot of your critiques are for Tucker Carlson. I'm a separate person from him. I appear on his show once every 2 weeks or so. Not married to him. I'm not his agent or his spokesman. I'm a journalist who does my own work separate and apart from him. I appear on his program sometimes, like I appear on many programs sometimes. And I think that you have this like Twitter conception that I'm like tied at the hip to him, and that I therefore should have like a obligation to have a running commentary on everything he says, and it's just an obligation I reject.
A Twitter conception.
It's not my role to like permanently be commenting on a cable host and every segment that he does and every comment that he makes.
No, but like you frequently do comment on things he says, but to be supportive of him on Twitter.
Yeah, because I think that he plays an important role in the media ecosystem, like when he is the only cable host agitating for a pardon for Julian Assange and Edward Snowden, or is the only one out there agitating against U.S. interference in Cuba. So when he is playing an important role that I think is positive and should be highlighted, I highlight it. But I don't think that means that it creates like a countervailing obligation for me to comment on everything he says that I don't agree with. I have no idea what segment you're referring to. I didn't hear that segment. Like I said, I don't watch that program unless I'm on it. So I don't understand the critique. I get the critique you have for him.
Positive. And coincidentally, he said I think a kid just went. All right, like I say, no comment on this. I don't think we need any comment. We just put up that tweet that is just like, 3 days old or something like that somebody had sent me. Just for the record, I have never, ever seen John Brennan in the flesh or been on television with him. Bill Kristol, to the extent that I have spent years calling him craptastic and mocking him, and I think we've incidentally done videos on every single person that Glenn had mentioned in this, including Joy Reid. I think there was one time I appeared with Bill Kristol on a segment. I didn't know that he was on there. We did not talk, and it was like one of those like jokey segments. And I told the MSNBC people, never, ever, ever again bring me on to do anything except argue with him. And he wants to know why. And I wasn't. I don't know what deplatforming means in this context.
So he says, do you think John Brennan, Bill Kristol, and Joy Reid should be fired or at least deplatformed by Comcast NBC for their chronic lying the way you and Chris were trying to pressure Spotify to do to Joe Rogan?
Well, aside from the fact that it was a lie, I wasn't saying that Spotify should or do, I said that they need to take responsibility for it. And I, without a doubt, and in fact, have done videos about this while I was on their streaming platform. But John Brennan or whoever came up during that time anyways, but certainly videos on all these people that, yes, they should be held accountable for them. And if that means fire them or deplatform them, absolutely. But he says, these are your corporate colleagues. It's almost like I have some type of responsibility for these people who I have never, ever applauded anything they've ever said, ever in any context. But if it doesn't matter, if John Brennan said, we should extend the child tax credit, I would not be praising John Brennan for that. I think Bill Kristol has probably said you should do something positive once. I don't care. In fact, if I remember correctly, Glenn Greenwald was a frequent guest on Rachel Maddow's show. Why isn't he still? Is it like what? Like it doesn't matter what if the negative things they say? I mean, come on. You just like.
Well, it's like it's not that you don't constantly criticize Tucker, so you've never done it. You've never done it. Like you won't do it. You're avoidant professionally of doing that, and everybody sees it now. Even children.
Okay, but that's the thing we have to point out, right? This kid, Nicholas. Good job, bravely coming on this guy's show. This is not Nicholas's podcast. That is Glenn's show. So the person he's having on to debate him has braces. I'm just pointing that out.
Well, no. To be fair, Glenn put out a call for people to challenge him and critique him.
Yes.
And if you watch the first 6-minute intro to this, he shits all over the kid basically for being, not unique, and he discourages his audience from putting it out there. But I think he knew that like he had to publish it because he had recorded it, and maybe the kid had recorded it.
Step up. I mean, he is appealing to a right-wing audience now, Glenn, so it only makes sense for him to play the hits of what they appreciate. And Steven Crowder has had a ton of success in this area debating kids because that
learn
is
from Steven.
Right. I mean, he's learning from the pros on the right wing. You've got to only debate children at this point in your grift.
It helps when you look like reasonably close in age then, because it starts looking a lot worse when there's a big gap in that and you're still getting rolled.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
Good job, Nicholas.